Welcome to another edition of Journey of Hope. Stories of real people going through life. Life is like a journey with ups and downs and different chapters written each week and each month. And sometimes during the day you wake up thinking it's going to be another day, but you're confronted with some kind of sobering news. Our special guest today is Alice, from all the way from France through Atlanta, Georgia. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you were apparently born in Martinique.
Yes.
So tell us, you were born in Martinique, and then what happened?
And then grew up in France.
You grew up in France?
Yes.
Where in France?
In Paris.
In Paris.
Yes.
Now, why did you happen to go to France?
Yeah, because France, Martinique is part of France, so it's a department like Hawaii is part of the States.
Okay.
So,
just going to, and you went to Paris?
Yes, Paris,
okay.
And grew up there and went to school.
What did your dad and mom do? Why did they move to France?
My father and mother were business people, so they have bakeries and sell ice creams as well.
Now this is your parents?
Yes, my parents.
They had a bakery and sold ice cream,
yes.
And I mean, when I think of French pastries, I mean,
yes,
yeah,
French pastries,
you're
croissants,
yeah, croissants,
cakes,
and, yeah, okay,
and the baguette.
Yeah, really, all of that, okay. So now you grew up over there.
Yes.
And did you go to school in France?
Yes.
Then?
Went to school.
In Paris. And what did you do? Did you go to high school?
High school, and I did undergraduate.
Undergraduate.
Yeah, a DUG and history.
Okay, and what did you take a degree?
Yes, history.
In history?
Yes.
Okay. Not American history, just overall history.
Overall.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably French history. And world history.
World history.
And a little bit of United States history.
A little bit, but mostly French history.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, when you graduated from high school, did you get married or
yes,
college?
Get married quickly.
Very quickly? After college or high school?
Yes, after still in school.
Okay. All right.
So in France at that time, people get married around 20, 21.
Okay, you're on 20, 21. So what are you going to do to support your family?
So working. I work for the government after that.
You work for the government?
Yes.
in France?
In France.
Okay, and what were you doing?
And I was working for the custom office.
Okay.
I was an officer for the custom office.
Okay.
And I was in charge of all importation from underdeveloped countries like Korea, India.
Now, you talking about the people coming in from those countries?
No. Importing...
importing goods.
Goods, yes.
Okay, and you're in charge of this, kind of overlooking that.
Yes.
Well, that must
for
have been kind of a fascinating job. And how long did you do that?
I did that for 1976 to 1983.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a family by this time?
Yes.
And how many children?
I had at the time, when I moved here, 3 children.
When you moved here to the United States,
yeah,
how many children?
3.
3.
Yes.
And now you have 4.
Now
okay.
I have 4.
So
the last one was born here.
Yeah, when you came to the United States, you've been working for the government over there, but
yes.
You're not going to work for the government over here.
No.
What did you decide to do?
I decided to come here because of business opportunity.
Business opportunity?
Yes. I wanted to open a French bakery here.
Oh, you wanted to open a French bakery like your parents had. Okay.
And I did it for a little while in New York, but it was not working too well. So
you started off in New York?
Yes.
Hard place to work?
Very.
Hard place to get a business and try to get established. I mean, there's all kinds of people from all around the world there in New York, all trying to do the same thing.
Sure.
So you have a family by this time, and from New York, where did you go?
From New York, I moved to Wichita, Kansas for 1 year.
Wichita, Kansas.
Yes.
Out in the middle of nowhere. Much different than France.
Very different. But I really liked it there. My family did.
Did they?
Yes, my wife really loved it. Everybody was friendly and there was no crime or anything. It was different than New York.
A safe place.
Safe place.
Yeah.
And then I get an opportunity to come to Atlanta, Georgia to work for the company I work now for 28 years.
You had an opportunity to work for this company.
Yes.
While you're in Wichita, you must have had some connections. There must have been some networking going on.
Yes, I was talking to some people. And then
people in Wichita just don't all of a sudden go to Atlanta.
That's true.
Okay.
So I was talking to some people, and then I found a large French company called Vie de France.
Vie de France?
Yes, and they were all over the States, different. They have about
This is a bakery business.
A bakery business.
Okay.
About 25 some bakeries at the time.
Across the United States, 25
Yes.
of them.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I moved to Atlanta at the
Now,
time.
what were you doing in Wichita?
Baking.
You were baking. Oh, okay.
For a company, and
For
I
a
was in
company
charge
there.
of
Smaller
the bakery.
company.
Very small
But you had
company.
this wonderful opportunity to go to Atlanta.
Yes.
All right.
To work for that large company. And when I came there, they noticed my skill and all those things that I wanted to change for them. And then...
So were you actually involved in the bakery aspect of it?
I knew a little bit, yes. Yes.
Okay.
I did. Change some recipes, and because I did go to school at night while I was in France before moving to the States, because I did not want to do a business without having more
schooling.
Yeah. More schooling.
And what were you doing in schooling?
Well, just teach you how to bake and all these things. And
even though you had a background working
Yes.
on it, you went to a
night.
school that
At night.
specialized in that at night.
Yes.
How to be a better baker.
Yes, and that was free.
It was free.
Yeah.
Because
French schooling
because
is
of
free.
being in French.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I learned this, and then when I came to the States, I used my skill that I knew about management and also this, and then the rest is history.
So you started, did you start on the ground floor? When I say ground floor,
Not
you started
really, no.
Not really.
Not really.
You had some experience, so they
Yes.
stepped in, and did you start out helping them baking or helping them show
No,
recipes?
I saw a couple of things that was not right based on what I knew about baking, and so I started changing, giving them some ideas, and then the manager mentioned that to the VP, and then the VP called me one time and asked me if I want to do some stuff, and I said okay. And,
So they were watching you, and they
yes.
saw that, hey, he's got more than just baking
Correct.
experience and
Exactly.
leadership and management. So you began moving up the ladder.
Exactly.
Okay. And you've been with that company for how many years?
28 years.
28 years. So now what is your responsibility now?
I'm the Director of Quality Assurance and Regulatory Affairs.
Director of Quality Assurance and Regulatory Affairs. That must take you, are you doing some traveling?
A lot of traveling. So I deal with, I write programs like GMP, HACCP, which is food safety. And
now you're
also,
writing different programs for the control and the quality
yes,
insurance?
yeah,
Really?
To make sure that
So are you involved with the government then and
Yes.
regulations with the government?
Yes,
That must be
sometime I go to Senate and Congress to discuss food
Oh, do
safety.
you?
Yes.
Okay. And so now what is your title?
Director of Quality Assurance
Director of Quality Assurance
and Regulatory Affairs.
for this big. Now, do they have a few places across the country, or
Yes.
several places?
Several places.
How many do you have?
We have 5, not counting restaurants, 5 large bakeries, very large.
Okay,
bakeries
across the country.
Across the country.
How about overseas?
Overseas, the mother company is Yamasaki, because Vie de France was purchased in 1991 by Yamasaki. At that time was the largest baking company in the world.
In the world? Really?
Now they are
and they,
the
they
second.
kind of absorbed this?
Yes, and so now since they purchased Vie de France, they have several Vie de France bakeries in Japan. In
Japan
addition
also?
to Yamasaki, yes.
So do you have to travel to either Europe or Asia?
Yes.
Do you?
Sometime.
Okay.
Sometime.
So
But mostly
everything's
in the
going
States.
fine. Now your kids, they're all grown up and they've gone on to school.
Yes.
What did they end up doing? You got 4 kids.
Yes, all of them are doing very well by the grace of God. One works for the army as a civilian now. He was in the army now. He's in Sierra Vista in Arizona.
He's in Arizona.
Yeah. Second one lives in France. He married a French woman.
In France.
Yeah.
That's one of the sons.
Yeah, we have a third one. He's in Atlanta. He's a lawyer.
In Atlanta, which is nearby.
Yes, he lives not far from us.
Okay.
And then the fourth one is in Detroit, and
Okay.
she's a lawyer as well.
A lawyer. So you got a couple lawyers.
Yes.
Wow, you got a well-rounded family. All of them educated, all doing fine. How many grandkids?
5.
5 grandchildren.
5.
All right, we got 7. There's something special about grandkids. Now, everything's going along fine. You're enjoying your work. Things are going well. Does your wife work? Has she worked outside the home?
Yes, she was a teacher until May of this year. She retired.
Retired as a teacher. What was she teaching?
French.
French. Oh, naturally. In high school, college?
No, she did...
Private?
No. Public school, but... what do you call that? Not high school, but medium high.
Middle school?
Yes.
Okay, middle school. And she taught there for many years?
Yes.
Okay, and she recently retired. That's good.
Recently.
So everything's going along fine, your business is going well, and then something happened regarding your health. You've been pretty healthy all along.
Yes, never had an issue, doing well, exercising, and feeling well. Even when, and suddenly I went for a checkup, did my PSA, and came back high.
A normal PSA, and for our listening audience, that's a simple blood test.
Yes.
Generally, the urologist will do a digital, and then you have the blood test, and it's just it's an indicator. Okay, so when the PSA began rising, is that what you found out?
Yes, for the longest since I turned 40, I started doing a PSA.
Which is normal. I mean,
normal.
When you get in the 40s, the mid-40s, it's a time, it's an indicator, but you begin watching it, and this is what you were doing. How'd you think about this? Did somebody bring this to your attention, or something you learned on your own?
No, I did that on my own, and also the insurance company was saying...
He was requiring you to get a regular physical.
Yeah, so I did that for 20 years, and for 20 years my PSA was 2.5, 2.25.
For 20 years?
For 20
consistently,
years.
2.5, which is normal. It's, it's a normal, it may be a higher normal, but it's a normal for a man your age, okay?
And suddenly
for 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. Suddenly started climbing, and from 2.5 to 3, but nothing.
Just a little bit, 2.5 to 3.
3. And then after that, 6, the doctor told me, well, jump, take another test. So I did it 6 months later, then he went to 4.
So it had gone up. He was a little concerned and said, hey, maybe you better get another test. So you took another test, and it actually went up again.
To 4, yes.
To 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And told me there is nothing to worry about because this is still the range. And then I went back 6 months later. Then I did not tell him because...
To the same doctor?
Same doctor, and he went to 5.2.
So it's going up. Okay.
But at that time I had the urinary tract infection.
Okay.
So he said, well,
that's an important point for our listening audience. If your PSA begins going up, there are many reasons for it to be going up. And one of them is you can have some kind of an infection. Yes. So, the urologist will usually tell you, or often tell you, or the primary, maybe we better try an antibiotic to find out if it's an infection rather than something else. So they put you on antibiotic.
Okay. And then after that, told me to come back... I believe 4 or 6 months later. I don't
come back in 4 or 6 months. We'll see how you're doing.
Yeah, and when I went back, my PSA was 8.4.
Oh, so you get on the antibiotics, and instead of going down, 6 months later, it's continuing to go up. Yeah. So it's up to 8.4, which is high, okay?
Yeah. And he said to me, there is no way to wait, but you need to have a biopsy.
So you got to have a biopsy.
Did the biopsy. And that was done in February of this year.
Okay.
And so about 10 days later, he called me.
How many samples did he take?
12.
He took 12, which is a normal number. The higher the number, the better the likelihood you're going to find something. So 12, 15, some go as high as 18 or 20 or 22. But 12 is a normal number. So they took 12 samples. And what happened after they got the 12 samples?
Yes, he called me after that and told me that I need to come to the office.
Oh, he called you on the phone and said, come on in, I have some news for you.
But before that, he told me he would not tell me if it is negative or positive over the phone. So.
Oh, he told you ahead of time. Whatever it is, I'm not going to tell you over the phone, so you need to come in. So at this point, you're just going in to get the information. Did you go with your wife?
No, I went myself.
You went by yourself?
Myself.
Okay.
And he told me, okay, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm fine. He said, well, I have some bad news for you. You have prostate cancer.
So he started right off. I got some bad news for you. How you doing? Okay. Well, I've got some bad news for you. So how did that hit you?
Well, I was shocked because I was concerned the fact that my PSA was high. So I started doing some research. And basically, plus my prostate with the rectal exam was not so much enlarged.
It was enlarged?
No,
it wasn't. It was just a normal.
Normal.
And he didn't discover anything.
No.
Which was a good sign.
Good sign. So he told me that I have prostate cancer, and he told me there are several options. but I can tell you which option you should not choose.
Oh, he told you right off the bat what you shouldn't do.
Yes, and he told me surgery.
You shouldn't do surgery.
Yeah,
well, he was a surgeon.
Yeah, but he told me you should not do surgery. And he told me the reason why I do it all the time, but you will never get your male function no more than 50 to 60%.
He told you right up front, surgery was out for you. Yeah. He was concerned about you, that you're going to use the male, you'll lose your male functions, okay, yes. Your virility.
Yeah, this is exactly what he said.
And he said you're going to, under the best of circumstances, it could be 50%?
Yeah, he said, and there's a best circumstances between 50 and 60.
Between 50 and 60, okay. Well, that was awful nice of him to share with you right up front. Because he's a surgeon.
He's a surgeon.
They do surgery. Yeah. It's normal.
But he told me, if you want to do it, I cannot tell you not to do it, but if you want to do it, I will do it. Like some people told me I want to be out, then I do it.
Well, and for many, many people, the idea of having cancer in there, something growing, the idea of getting rid of it, getting it out, that's what many men want to do. And you know, for many people, surgery's been very successful, at least getting the cancer. There are some side effects, and this doctor was up front and sharing with you some of those side effects.
I talk about incontinence and wearing diapers, and he said the older I will get, I will have that issue.
So, may not immediately, but later on, he said you're going to be having some incontinence and impotence issues. Yes. Okay?
And he gave me...
So how did that hit you?
Well, when I heard the word cancer, I was shocked, because I've been vegetarian for 28 years, almost 28 years.
But a vegetarian, so...
Yes, and I removed dairy from my diet about 3 years ago.
So you removed dairy, you're a vegetarian, you're doing everything right. Now, did you think maybe he had somebody else's, maybe it wasn't your information at all, maybe it was somebody else? There must be some kind of a mistake.
No, because my PSA was clean.
Because you had been going up.
Yeah. So,
in spite of everything you were doing right, you still got it.
Cancer.
The main problem is you were born a man.
Yes, that's the issue.
All right.
And so... at that time, while he was talking to me, I started praying and said, God...
So you're a believer?
Yes, I'm a believer.
Okay.
And I said, if you allow that to happen, because you have a reason. And so...
There's a reason for it, but you're telling God.
Yes. And he gave
Were you discouraged?
No, not at all. Never been.
Never been. Okay.
And so when he told me this, he told me, okay, let me give you the other options. So he gave me the photon, the seeds, and he gave me something else that I don't... Freezing.
Freezing, cryo, okay.
Yeah.
Gave you 2 or 3 different options.
3 different options. And told me, you don't need to decide now. Go talk to your wife. And
so you're by yourself at this point?
Yes, at that point.
Okay.
It was a Friday afternoon, I remember clearly. And he told me, come back in about a week and let him know what I decided. And while he was telling me this, I said, but you never mentioned the proton therapy. And he told me, oh, yes, I know about it, but I don't have enough information.
He didn't have enough personal information about it.
He said that he heard that some positive things, some negative things. And so I started telling him what I knew about my friends who have been in
You had some friends that had been here.
Yes.
Now, had they already told you about it? I mean,
oh, yes,
did other people know that you had prostate cancer?
Yes. One of my friends, Harry Marcelino, from my church, came here 15 years ago.
Okay.
And he told me, well, when he came here, that was like a vacation. He had a good time.
Like a radiation vacation?
Yes.
I've heard some of the patients say.
He was doing well, and until now he's 84 years old, and his PSA is 0.0 something.
Way down, so completely taken care of. Yeah. And you had a couple of friends there that have been here. So this was in the back of your mind when because they went to the same church?
Yes.
Okay.
Same church. So when I went home, I talked to my wife about it, and I said, okay.
How did she respond?
She was a little bit shocked.
That's putting it mild. I've had people tell me that when they heard they had cancer, after that they didn't hear anything the doctor said. You know, they kind of spaced out.
And I said, well, you know, the Lord allowed it, we'll beat it.
That's a good point. The Lord allowed it. There are many things that happen in this world that God has nothing to do with, okay? But God allows it. The rain falls on the just and the unjust, okay? The righteous and the unrighteous. Everything happens. But everything happens for a reason. Okay, and you were mentioning that. So you're telling her that somehow it's going to work out.
And then we prayed, and the next Monday I called Loma Linda. they sent me a brochure, no, a book.
A book? Did you get it right away?
Yes, right away. It's
overnight.
Day after, overnight.
All right.
So.
And what was the book?
You Can Beat Prostate Cancer.
By Bob Marchini.
By Bob Marchini,
that book's helped thousands of people all around the country.
And so I read that in about 2 days.
In 2 days?
Yeah. So, and I already knew what I was going to do. So,
did you?
Yeah. So I did that and called Loma Linda, flew in right away.
So you were diagnosed, you met the urologist, shared with your wife, called out here, got the book, read the book, and then how much later did you call out here?
I called here, I get the book on Tuesday.
On Tuesday?
On Wednesday I called.
You called
and
the next
I was
day?
here on Monday.
And you're here the following Monday?
Yeah, following Monday.
All right, and what did they tell you? They came out, and were you going to be a candidate?
Yes, I saw Dr. Namihas.
Namihas, okay.
He looked at all my record because...
He's one of our many fine doctors.
Yes, and he told me, well, proton therapy is good for you.
All right.
Because my glycemic score was 3 + 4, 7.
Okay.
And
it's the lowest is 3 + 3, so it's a little bit low, a little bit higher. But did you get all proton then?
All proton.
All proton.
All proton.
Okay. And were you sick while you were getting the treatments?
No, never. Before they told me I have prostate cancer, I never been sick. During, I never been sick. After, I never been sick.
Well, there are many men that come here. They didn't feel bad when they came here. They didn't feel bad while they're here, and they left and they didn't feel bad. And they're wondering, did I really have something going on? But there's a little mark that's left usually on each knee of the men that are being treated for prostate cancer. So, was your wife with you that when you were here?
Yes, she was able to come with me. She stayed here 7 weeks.
7 weeks with you?
Out of the 9 weeks.
Okay.
And then the last 2 weeks I did it by myself.
And so how were you when you were here? Did you feel badly when you were here?
I felt very well. I was well.
You were well the whole
I played tennis all the time. And I was able to work here because we have a plant here.
So you were able to still continue working while you were undergoing treatment. And were you over in the LA area then back and forth?
Yes, LA area I was going back and forth. Sometimes I work in my apartment, but most of the time I went. And no issue. And
no issues. No. So what were you doing besides working? Did you partake in any of the activities that were going on?
Yes, I went to different churches here.
Did you?
And what I did, go to the gym.
You went to the gym. That's our Drayson Center. That's our wellness center. And we expect patients to be down there 3 to 5 times a week, plus coming to the Wednesday night meeting. I mean, we think it's a very important part of the healing process.
Yes.
Now, did you take part in the other activities?
Yes, we have a potluck.
You have a potluck.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
The potluck is on Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night.
And you have all the patients. They come there for that potluck. And then they share their experience. And new people, when they come, they say where they come from. And that was very good experience for me.
So that's, again, a very important part of the healing process, to make man whole, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And
the support group was very good here.
The Tuesday night potluck is a very important point. And, you know, we have a person that we appoint as a mayor. That's one of the patients.
Yes.
They kind of facilitate it. Then we have another person that has the entertainment, so that every Tuesday night. And you're right. It's a very important meeting for the people to come together and for friendships to be developed. And there's a support system that really comes out of that. And then we had some other meetings. Did you go to any of those?
Yes, on Wednesday, like you mentioned. So every Wednesday I was there. I did not miss one.
You didn't miss one?
Because
and what happened
the information...
the Wednesday night meeting?
Well, you have a speaker.
Okay, we have an educational speaker.
Who came every Wednesday, and they were different, of course. And they were giving us many important information about nutrition, about the way of living, and things like this. So I learned a lot.
Well, I tell our patients when they come that I have good news for them. They're worried they're going to die. And I tell them, I have wonderful news. You're in the best possible place on planet Earth. This next year is our 25th anniversary. And we treat people of all different types of diseases. We're treating over 200 different types right now. Prostate cancer is probably about 70% of those patients. But I let them know the good news is their best possible place. But the bad news, and I ask them if there's any bad news. And they say, oh, I've already had enough bad news. Well, is anything 100%? And they'll say no, and I'll repeat the questions. Anything 100%? And they'll say no. Finally, somebody say, well, death and taxes. And now we can occasionally get away with the taxes, but death. So the question is whether we're going to die. It's how are we going to live? And that's what Loma Linda is all about. Making man whole, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And the treatments take place either in the gantry or the fixed beam line, but healing is a process. And what we're talking about is going to the Drayson Center. Did you ever go to the pool?
No.
You didn't go to the pool,
No.
but you know, we got 2 large heated pools there. And a lot of different these activities going on. Now that you've had cancer and your PSAs all heading down, 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 what difference is having cancer made to you?
Well, that having cancer is something that you don't expect to have.
You don't expect it.
And so when that hit home, you will realize that you have to pay more attention to the thing of God. It's not only...
You hear the clock of mortality.
Yeah, it's not only me, or career or things like this. Things become a little bit more important. Family and friends. And also, my goal is to let people see Christ. And so, having cancer reminds me that I need to let people know about Christ, because the healing doesn't come from the proton. Right. It's a tool.
It's a tool, and God uses each
it's a tool
tools that are made available.
Yeah, to heal
all
me.
Healing, you're right,
Yeah.
all healing really comes from God. Yeah. So if you were to tell a patient that's just been diagnosed with either prostate cancer or some other cancer, what would you tell them? Look into the camera here and tell them.
Yeah, I will tell them to have a positive attitude.
Very important.
Don't be negative, because, you know, if you do not bring the disease to you, it's a cause of sin that happened.
We live in a sinful world.
Yeah. And so I will tell them, continue to trust in God and do not give up. That's the main thing.
Well, that's important counsel. Don't give up. Look to God. Allow Him to guide and direct and control your life. So I have good news for you. God's got wonderful plans for you and your family, and I know that you're a living example of what God can do with you. And for our listening audience, I want to say, I know there are people out there that this week they've had some horrible news. Every day is a day for God to be able to work in your life. Every day is an opportunity. And like our guest here, he allowed God to open and close doors, and he found his way here to Loma Linda. But there are many different avenues. Remember that God's got a plan for your life. Each day, put your trust in Him. He'll open and close doors. He'll surround you with people. He sends angels by their way. As you listen to our guest here, he talked about how God opened the doors for him. Until we meet again, remember, look to God. He is able to do above and beyond what you dare think is possible. Trust in Him.